Hello and welcome back to the Strong Minds, Strong Bodies podcast. Lori and I are here today talking with Darren Horndash, and we are going to focus on community involvement and how that can really connect with our well-being and help us find a purpose that leads our spirit on. Thank you for being here, Darren.
Good morning.
Before we get started, can you just introduce yourself and share just a little bit about what you do professionally and with the YMCA?
Sure. Presently, I'm the president and CEO of Wisconsin Vision, Heartland Vision, and the iBoutique. We operate optical locations in Wisconsin, Illinois, and Indiana. And I also now serve on the association board as a board member and have been on the board for almost 34 years, 33 years.
How did you find yourself
on the board?
Connected with the board?
Well, 1989, my wife and I first moved here for a career change that I made to come up to Wisconsin. And we joined the YMCA, the Southwest YMCA on Howard and Beloit. And I was looking for ways to involve myself in the community to get to know people because we had no relations here. We didn't have any friends here. And becoming involved in something like the YMCA, and I was introduced by one of my financial advisors back in the day that worked with our organization. And he said, Darren, I think you'd be a great fit for the YMCA. And I thought, wow, this is great. I have a young family. I can get a free membership. This is going to be awesome. I'm going to get something out of belonging to a board. And really, it wasn't about that at all in the end. Free membership never happened. But I will say what did happen was a lot of great experiences, a lot of networking, a lot of people that I've met over the years that from 1991, we're still getting together today.
So just to lay the groundwork for our conversation, why do you feel that in community engagement is important? I mean, you shared some of your personal reasons that you got involved, but just as a whole, what would you?
Well, again, from our organization and my standpoint as the CEO, I encourage anybody in our organization to be involved in their communities. I don't care if it's their little league team, if it's a soccer club, if it's whatever their passion is. Because I think that you need an outlet besides just work and everyday life. I think that to be engaged in something is fulfilling. I think there's all the endorphins that come with that and the excitement and the challenges that you get to participate with an organization. And certainly since 1991, joining the YMCA's board, the evolution has been dramatic. And there's been ups and downs and peaks and valleys and being able to participate in that. And I think from a business standpoint, I've learned as much participating in those processes that has helped me in my own personal growth, but as well as my organizational growth. A lot of, the early years when I was an early executive, I was 31 years old and a CEO, and just learning from different organizations and styles and leadership and being able to engage my teams on that same basis. Because again, I was young and I was still learning and I was still trying to get my personal growth and my corporate growth in a certain direction. And I think that the YMCA certainly showed a lot of that leadership and taught me as much as I brought to the table, probably more in the beginning.
That's a really good point, that it connects with your personal growth, but yes, it also can benefit your professional growth too, just being in a room with people with all of those different experiences and those different backgrounds. Are there any other specific strategies or initiatives that you've brought from being on the board into your professional world?
I think part of it is mentoring the young team members now that I have and their request from me of what should I do? I mean, I like my work every day, but what else can I be involved in? And it isn't necessarily just the YMCA. In my business, it's organizations like Prevent Blindness or the Vision Council, things that are really more strategically aligned with our exact business. But health and fitness, health and wellness, we're a healthcare business. So the synergies are very tight between the YMCA and Vision Care.
How do you see the YMCA as a community partner, and what do you see the YMCA doing for the communities that they serve?
How many families have I seen benefit, including my own? My kids grew up in the YMCA. My youngest son worked at the front desk. All those opportunities and to see the fundraising activities that we've done over the years and being able to provide to those that don't have as much and for families to have outlets to bring them to a safe environment, I think is extremely important. And it's rewarding when you see that. When you have the stories of Live Strong and cancer survivors and having some place to go where there's fellowship. And I think that's meaningful. And you go to, like this morning when I left the YMCA, and I'm coming hot off the gym into this podcast, you see a great senior community networking. And that's really what it's about. It's getting out and engaging with people of either like minds or just sharing experiences or just somebody to talk to. That's what the Y brings.
We have seen a theme in the past few podcasts that we need to find our people, right? Like socialization is so important to our mental well-being. One of the great things that, you have shared is it's not just about volunteering for different organizations or even just at a special event for the YMCA. Your volunteerism goes a little bit deeper with the policy and procedure part of the YMCA. And I really like the point that you made that it's not just a one way. You're not just volunteering to give your talent. You're also bringing something back. And that is a very fulfilling opportunity within volunteering. And I guess I just want the audience to understand that it's a partnership across the board when you look at the YMCA. It's not just about the providing services or volunteer opportunities. It's also about those people, those participants, the members, the volunteers receiving something in return. And that's part of the whole social well-being and the mental wellness and the mental well-being that we organically see within our walls of the YMCA.
I would agree. And again, let's go back to when I was 31 years old and I interviewed with Don Fell, who was the branch executive at that time. And he, wanted to know what was my reason for joining the board. It was a true interview of myself, and maybe because I was 31 years old and trying to join a board. And but he just made remarks that people join for different reasons, and all those reasons are valid reasons to join a board. It can be altruistic, it can be personal, it can be business related. There's some organizations that have stipulations where their executives need to participate in community boards. Those are all good reasons to participate in a board like the YMCA. And there's a reason why in 2024, I'm only 32 now, but in 2024, I'm still sitting on this board because it's the people. It's what I get to bring back to my teams. It's what I get to learn, talking to peers in different sectors and business sectors that are, sitting on the board with me, and we have chats afterwards. I mean, I've developed professional relationships with, insurance groups that are participating in this board because I got to know them. It's a trust factor. You get to develop all those kinds of relationships that extend well beyond what the mission of the YMCA is. All that's great, but I get to meet and be with people. And I think I said this earlier, that I still hang out with people today that I met in 1991 and ran into a board member, Mr. Terry Briscoe. I haven't seen him in a decade, and we ran into each other, and it was like we hadn't missed a beat. So those are special. Those are special connections, and that's what fulfills your heart in as much as what I know that when we do a fundraising or we do a golf outing, we raise money, what that means to bring that to the community so that families have a place to go and a safe space no matter what their income level is. That's fantastic. But as a board member, you also get to have so much more than just that.
It's not just filling a seat around the table and looking at paperwork. There's so much more, so many more levels to being a board member.
And I agree. And I think our opinions matter as we sit around the board and as the executives of the YMCA team ask for our opinions. I know that you and I, Lori, have made connections in the marketing side of things, and whether it was website connections or PR persons to work with, those are the things that we can share, and vice versa. I've taken things that the YMCA was doing in a customer reach management type of process and engaged those in my organizations on how we engage our customers.
Well, I love the partnerships that we've built and the relationships that we have connected on. It's like you said, it's very valuable. It's invaluable, I would say. It's definitely It's a product of what our organization stands for. The YMCA of Greater Waukesha County believes in community connection, believes in having the right people around the table to create those connections, and then also deliver that out to our community through our programs and our services.
So one of the things that you just spoke about was that you can see when you do a golf outing fundraiser or something like that, you know exactly where the funds are going and where that money is being distributed. And being a member at the Y and utilizing the facility, you also get to see really firsthand all of the great work that you're doing. Do you have any personal experiences of someone sharing a story or just knowing somebody at the Y that we've really made a big impact in their life?
Sure. I think first of all, I would say that we're not human if we don't all have needs and experiences, needs for experiences. And I think that some of the greatest experiences I've seen are in the Livestrong, because that touches me personally in a number of regards. And, I see how those folks come out of that program with a definitively better attitude in their disease management. And that's so incredibly important in that process, and personally having experienced that and that journey with family members, that is an important piece that people need to have, and these resources that the YMCA provides. So I think that's one of the greatest things that of recent experience that I've seen.
If somebody's looking to get more involved, they haven't historically, either they're new in their career or they just haven't made time for it or been interested in it, and they want to get started, do you have any advice for them, or maybe what they can expect, what the opportunities might be?
Well, first thing I would say is don't be afraid. There's this fear of I'm going to join and I'm going to be loaded up with a bunch of work. I think that the opportunity, at least on the YMCA board, and I sit on a number of different boards, a healthcare board, industry related board, and they all have different expectations. And the YMCA certainly sets those out for board members. But don't be afraid. I mean, you can go at your own pace. I mean, again, I started in 1991, 2024. I'm now on the association board, but for many years, I was a board member of the Southwest YMCA. And I remember the first summer, they used to have the GMO, I think it was the GMO golf outing at Brown Deer Country Club. And the Southwest YMCA received $25,000 from the golf outing for handling childcare and parking. And I volunteered as a board member. And I had the worst sunburn for 2 days, parking cars. But I volunteered and I jumped in. I felt that was a first start. And I got to meet people, and I got to talk to other board members and other people within the association. And then it kind of worked from there. I mean, I involved in the building and crowns and marketing committees. I chaired the Southwest board 3 different times. I chaired the Strong Kids campaign when it was called the Strong Kids campaign on several occasions, both at an association level as well as a board level. So it's as much or as little as you want to be involved. But I think what you find is the more you get involved, the more enthusiastic you are about it. And it's not that frightening. I think that's a little the hesitation sometimes for people, that the expectation is how much do I have to pay to in the fundraising side. That's the scariest part about, I think, a nonprofit board is the fundraising. It isn't that hard. We all have friends. We all are in a certain level where we can make those kind of asks. And by the way, it's not just asking for money. Sometimes it's giving, sometimes it's getting, sometimes it's donating items to a golf outing. All that counts. All that matters. And I think when you find your pace of what it is that you enjoy to do, and that's why I kind of dabbled in all the different aspects of the board, is to find what I really like to do.
And I think that's a good point too, is everyone has different talents to share. And I think there's a place for all of that. And once you start getting involved, you can see where your talents can be best utilized, or somebody at the branch might see, oh, you have a background in this, or you have a talent in this, and we're looking for help in this area. And they might ask you. So we do try to diversify in our boards with different backgrounds, different experiences to draw from to make our organization better. So no matter what your background is, you can probably help.
I would totally agree with that. And again, I know that the way that the YMCA has reorganized committee structures and gone through an evolution, particularly since COVID. I don't think there's any business that hasn't, but particularly since COVID, and we've seen, some of that structure and change and for board members so that they don't feel burnt out and that when they do work, it's meaningful work and not, the term I use is information regurgitation, because I don't like, that's a waste of everybody's time. That's a waste of staff time. It's a waste of volunteers' time. We really want to have an impact. And so tell us how to plug in. I think when you look around, at least the association board, which is where I sit today, and you look at the group of people, they all want to find some way to be involved. They're on that board for a reason. And, again, sometimes it is altruistic. Sometimes it is, there's many reasons to belong. And I think it's just finding your path and what you're comfortable with.
Are there ways that you, in your company, work with your employees and really foster that community involvement with your employees?
Again, we try to support our employees. If it's a soccer club or a baseball league or whatever community, because it's a community activity, or it is the YMCA. My VP of marketing was on the Southwest YMCA board for a while. She's now looking for other activities to participate in. And as I stated earlier, it is sometimes within our own industry, Prevent Blindness or the Vision Council, which I also sit on as a board member for the U.S. And, those are things that have a different mission, a different drive. But we do encourage all of our team members in the 3 states that we operate in. If you have an interest, we're going to support you.
Darren, because you support that culture within your organization, do you see a better work ethic or a better culture within your organization?
I think it really is meaningful to those team members because they've expressed an interest to participate and belong. And if they feel that you're empowering them to participate and do those activities, I think they have more of a connection to the organization.
I love that. I think it's so important for us to realize as a community that support and that culture is important for our mental well-being and our social well-being. That if you feel supported within your organization that you work for, that it comes twofold. It makes your personal life more happy, right? Like you talked about the endorphins in the beginning. Your personal life is a little bit more balanced. We talk about, you hear the term work-life balance all the time, right? Like that's has been a big thing for a while now. So that type of support and that type of community involvement and creates that opportunity of that social and mental well-being.
Yes, I would agree with that. There's times I come away from a meeting, and particularly like the annual meetings, where there's a lot of, exciting rallying, and you get to be with people from a lot of other branches that you don't often get to see, and you come away and you just have this feeling of solidarity and like we're all sitting in that room on the same path, on the same trajectory, and that's kind of a really empowering moment.
Yeah, we also have the opportunity to do that with the staff. So you see it on the annual meeting side with the volunteers, and then we see it within our staff rally in December. And just the excitement of having everyone in the same room. It's back to being with your people, right? You have aquatic directors across the board, across the association, and you see them all come together and take pictures and be excited and network. Not saying that doesn't happen through the year, but having everyone in the room just brings a different energy and different support system.
Lori, for so many years, you've served lots of different roles within the YMCA, all working very closely with our board members. From your perspective, what impact does the board have on our organization and the mission?
Well, obviously, every level has been different, kind of like what Darren was saying, right? Every stepping stone, you have a different perspective, and I'm always curious. I've been told curiosity is a good thing for knowledge, right? You're constantly grasping for more knowledge and more expertise as you build on your career. But when it comes to the board members themselves and the impact that it has on our organization and our community, that diversity is a huge opportunity for us to reach more, be great, and always be on point when it comes to our work. The outside perspective is super appreciated when we go through different discussion points, the connections that we have been able to create and work through gave us an opportunity to look at and dive into some of our marketing plans and our what we're communicating and what our audience is, and then also work with other organizations, outside organizations, to always better our message. Without those connections, we would still be where we were a few years ago. So that doesn't show growth. So I feel that the board members bring, as we sit at the table or on individual meetings or conversations, it just challenges you to be a better leader and a better provider for an organization that will give back to that community, because it's always about giving back. The YMCA is always about giving back. And are we doing our best? And are we looking at everything to make sure that we are doing our best for our community? And is it aligned with our strategic plan, right? Making sure it all fits together. Darren spoke a lot about the annual meeting and how we are all aligned and we come together in a room that provides this excitement and visionary place that we're all aligned and we're all moving in the same direction. We all want the same things. Well, that's the same thing with every board meeting, every time we talk about the strat plan, and every time we look at our operations.
And I would add to that and just say that, you as Y staff get to leverage the knowledge of the board members and their connections, and I think that's really what really is part of being a board member, is being able to bring things to the table for the YMCA when there's a need. Who do we know in the community that might need to be or is involved in XYZ? I guarantee you there's somebody around the table that knows somebody that's able to do that. And I look at even going back to our golf outings and how all those got set up back in the day was connections that Southwest board members had at the golf clubs. And that's how we ended up where we're at. Those things make a difference when you're trying to figure out how to get something going.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more, because of the fact that every person brings a different perspective and different talent. And if you look at the why, there's so many people that we serve, and it's not often that you see an organization trying to serve such a diverse group of people. So the more diverse our board is with thought and presence and talent, the more diverse our programs are and the more we can serve our community.
And here's one challenge I would make to anybody considering even giving it a thought to becoming a board member of the YMCA. If you've not been in one, go to one, experience it, see the community that's built there, because I'm a 5 a.m.er, well, maybe 5:30 now, but it's the same people there morning after morning after morning. And as I stated earlier, you'll have the 8 a.m. the senior groups, and they're doing their aerobics in the main gym in Southwest Y, and then afterwards is sitting around having coffee and having conversation. Go there at 6 p.m. and it's a totally different audience. It's the young families coming in with their children for programs. And in the summertime, when you see day camp and you see how many children are having an experience that, is just an awesome. They not only have the facility, but they have great instructors and counselors to work with, and parents can trust that the YMCA brand is the Coca-Cola brand name, in my opinion. And I think the parents can trust the YMCA in those regards.
I think that's one of the things that makes us unique is there are so many worthy causes that people can give their time and talents to if they want to get involved. The Y is a little different than a lot of those because you can go in and see the direct impact that you are making. You can go in and you can see the kids playing in Child Watch. You can see the swim lessons happening. You can see the fitness classes. It's a little more tangible than some of the other things that people can get involved with. So it can be a little more rewarding in that sense that you can just see it unfolding and all the work that you've done.
Yeah, and let's not even discount the healthy living aspect of the YMCA. I mean, we talked a lot about community and all of that, but listen, I've been an avid user of the Southwest YMCA, and where I live, I have 3 other facilities that are within the same proximity, and my car knows exactly on autopilot how to get to the YMCA. Because I look forward to going and saying hello to the people that I see every morning, and And I know I know the facility inside and out, literally having been there since 1990. And the healthy living side of it for me was really what got me inspired to participate as a board member as well.
So one thing that we've been asking at the end of each podcast this season is somebody looking to really put more effort on social well-being and dive into this world a little bit. What is one thing that when they're done listening today that they could implement or do?
Search and seek out your passion. If you know what that passion is, then you'll find the fit to belong somewhere out. Because our daily lives, we spend, more time at work than we do anywhere else. Obviously, we have our family. But what else is there to you as an individual? And if there are things that are going to fulfill and fill that bucket for you, find out what those are. Because whether it's the YMCA or other community service organizations, listen, there's a need, and there's a great need for people to participate, belong, and drive things. But find out what your passion is first, and that's what I talk to my team about. What is it that you want? What is it you like to be involved in? What is it that is your passion? If it's music, if it's whatever it is, find that path, and you'll find yourself fulfilled if you dive in.
That's great advice. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here today, Darren. Lori and I really enjoyed speaking with you.
It was fun.
And I would say, too, just one more, if you are interested in being part of the YMCA and volunteering, being part of our board in any way, you can reach out to your branch, or if there's any organization that you're interested in, just take that step and get involved.
And I would just like to add, too, if there's somebody that that sits on a board, ask them questions.
Oh, that's great.
Be curious and find out what their experience has been like and what they got out of being involved in the organization.
Great advice. Thank you again.
Thank you.
And thank you all for listening to Strong Minds, Strong Bodies.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Strong Minds, Strong Bodies this week.
This podcast was brought to you by YMCA of Greater Waukesha County.
Don't forget to follow the podcast so you can hear more each week on the conversation of health and wellness.